Another tragic situation just happened in Madison, Wisconsin at a Christian school, and they are giving updates about this on the news all over right now. This is another Christian school situation where an active person with a firearm went in and has brought harm. And it looks like there is at least one teacher and one student that are no longer with us after the shooting in Abundant Life Christian School in Madison. This is horrifying. My son goes to a Christian institution as well. The female, 17, is believed to have died, self-inflicted, of course. And this is, I mean, we've had several situations like this, specifically at Christian establishments, right? And so that, obviously, those of us that are Christian, we're instantly, our brain is going to go and try to connect the dots. You know what I mean? This is a statement just put out by the White House. Okay. And of course, let's guess. They're going to make this about 2A. Are they going to make this about 2A?
I think they're going to talk about how the persecution of Christian schools in America is getting out of hand.
I don't
think so.
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. Statement from President Joe Biden. Today, families in Madison are grieving the loss of those who were killed and wounded at Abundant Life Christian School. It's shocking and a conscience. We need Congress to act now. Are you kidding me?
Right out the gate.
Let's just go right for the you know, because this was going to happen. What's going to happen? We're going to dig beneath the very surface layer, find out this person's identity. We're going to point out the obvious, and someone's going to tell me that I'm polarizing this and I'm politicizing this.
Yep.
Because we are, come on, bro. Come on. A Christian school, come on, right? Yeah. So, but the president, this is the unjust scales right now in society. The president of the United States going straight for a political, we need to act now, making this a 2A issue, is completely disconnected from the obvious hyper politicizing of the situation.
Oh, yeah.
Right? From Newton to Uvalde to Madison, to so many others that don't receive attention, it is unacceptable that we are unable to protect our children from this scourge of gun violence. We cannot continue to accept it as normal. Every child deserves to feel safe in their classroom. Students across our country should be learning how to read and write and not having to learn how to duck and cover. Jill and I are praying for all the victims, including the teacher and teenage students who were deleted. We are grateful for the first responders who quickly arrived on the scene and the FBI supporting local law enforcement efforts by my direction. My team has reached out to local enforcement to offer further support as needed. My administration has taken aggressive action to combat this epidemic. We passed the most significant GUN safety legislation in nearly 30 years. I've taken more executive action to reduce gun violence of president history, and I created the first ever White House prevention. More is needed. Congress must pass common sense safety laws now, universal background checks, national red flag law, a ban on these, and high capacity mat, which we have all of this in California, by the way. Yeah. We have all this in California.
That's why California says safe.
Stopped nothing. That's why New York City and LA are so safe.
Yeah.
That's why this never happened. There's never these sorts of situations in New York City. Yeah, I would say fairly tone-deaf response, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I would agree, but it seems like the leftist new thing to do is like wait for all the conservative thoughts and prayers, right? Like here come all the conservative thoughts and prayers while they stand by and do nothing. So we're in a weird culture where it is now culturally acceptable to not acknowledge the passing of people and go straight to action because that apparently suffices for letting something be a tragedy. So that's kind of like it was kind of funny. I mean, it's not funny, it's sad. But I was scrolling and then there was like libs of TikTok that was like, make sure you guys are praying for the families and whatever. And then right below it was like, here come the wave of conservatives asking for thoughts and prayers.
Yeah.
And I was like, we do. Yet I find it a bit callous to ask for legislation on the back end of a.
Oh yeah, I mean, what's worse, thoughts and prayers or take away people's Second Amendment rights?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Imagine the family members that lost their child. One, they're grieving their child, and two, what if they don't want their gun taken away?
Yeah, most don't. Well, if you're sending your kids to a Christian school in Wisconsin,
yes,
odds are you're not agreeing with the president right now.
Exactly. And so kind of my thought is like, what a double whammy. You lost your kid and you lose your gun and you feel and then you feel like your kid was used to publicize this thing that you don't agree with in the first place. Is pretty nuts.
By the way, people are always like, how do we fix it? How do we solve it? How do we fix that? Do you want to know how you solve most of these issues? And I'm not trying to oversimplify. Maybe this is a bit of oversimplification. Ronald Reagan, some would argue the best Republican president of all time, first it was in California, then it was in the late 60s and the 70s, passed a law that made it illegal to commit someone against their will. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Guess what increased and it went from this to this, the moment you couldn't commit someone against their will. Now, granted, they was wilding back then. They was giving people frontal lobotomies. They were putting anybody in the hospital that wilded out, right? But guess what happened the moment you couldn't commit somebody against their will? Guess what you saw influx of? You saw an instant influx over the next several decades of these types of situations, of people who are becoming homeless and living on the streets, of addiction, of all of these societal ills came on the back of a huge percentage of people that are going through this probably need to be committed for a minute to get their mind right, to figure out what's going on in their head, right? And the moment that law changed is the moment you started seeing all this stuff. And by the way, the moment they couldn't commit people against their will, the moment is also when they started taking away beds from the hospitals and mental health facilities. So you didn't have as many beds per people anymore because they couldn't commit people against their will. Now, again, were they doing some sketchy stuff before that? Absolutely. But was there necessary evil to have the right to commit somebody in your family that is going through a psychotic break? Absolutely. My issue isn't with acknowledging that these sorts of situations happen. They happen, and by the way, they happen on all sides. The dude in upstate New York who streamed his situation went to a black neighborhood. There's folks on the right that do this, right? There's folks on the right that do this, folks on the left that do this. You go deep enough into any situation and you can get radicalized. My issue is these people are getting radicalized in the dogmas that are being pushed on a mainstream level. So it's not not
Unabomber.
Yeah, most folks on the right would be like racism is bad.
Yeah.
Most folks, even like whatever is the far right, who would you call like Charlie Kirk, right? I would say Charlie Kirk's probably a little further right than I am. I like some of Charlie Kirk's stuff, but he's like a little further right than I am.
Yes.
Patrick Bet-David, right?
Yep.
Everyone over there would be like them bad.
Yeah.
Right? The issue is the folks on the left would agree with the sentiments that this person is saying. Right? So the person on the right that goes and does something like this, we would all say bad, very bad.
Yeah.
Right? Bad view, bad ideas. But the issue is when this happens on the left, they're not saying bad views, bad ideas.
They're just saying bad person.
They're saying bad person, bad action. And what I'm saying is bad views and bad ideas lead to bad action, whether it's on the right or the left. And what's happening on the left and what's happened on the left, the far left, the radical left, the Marxist left, is that these ideas have become mainstream and have been accepted and have been celebrated and have been championed, right, by the activist elitist type. And that's the issue that we're having. What's known about the victims, at least 3 people are deleted and others injured in three. Now it's up to 3.
And this was updated 3 hours ago.
This is updated 3 hours ago. Whew. Police have confirmed 3 are now dead in the school. The victims were only identified as 1 teacher, 1 teenage student. Another 6 people were injured. 2 of those injured are in the hospital in critical condition, and their injuries are considered life-threatening. The other 4 students who were injured were taken to area hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries. It was originally reported that 3 people were killed in the shooting, but during a press conference on Monday, police erroneously said 5 people. Okay, well, that's good. What is known about the person?
Everyone's saying the third one is the
Okay.
So it's 2.
Yeah, what is known about this person?
The person was a student at the school and was only described as a teenager by Barnes. No further details on the specific age, gender of the suspect were released. So far, the motive behind the situation is unknown. What happened? So it doesn't really feel like we know much. Twitter's trying to do memes. Biden's trying to cancel ones that weren't even used for this event. It's just saying what happened. Very dark, I'll say that.
Very dark indeed.
Dark person.
Okay, so I think we say all that to say that we don't know much. We don't know much. We can only go off of what is being reported. Hey, thank you so much for checking out the video. Please be sure to comment below and subscribe and all that good stuff. And check out this other video that YouTube seems to be recommending just for you. Let me know if they nailed it. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.